I put the piston back into the cylinder. You can press the rings in by hand. It is a little tricky, that's what I did, but you get them in eventually. Next stage is you got this one here. There's a little groove that you got to slide it in down the bottom. It holds it in place. This little hook here goes in a little thing like that, so it doesn't move around. So you got to push that into there. So bring it from the top, lift the chain out of the way, and you can see it with some lighting. See, well, it's not moving around, that's in. Slide the chain up from underneath. Bit of wire helps. You can do it just like that. Sliding the head back on. Put that in place. Slide it down. Should slide down very easily. If not, this section here is sitting on the timing chain, or the timing tensioner. Next, so the chain don't slip back down, you want to put the sprocket back in. Line the sprocket up with the time mark straight away, it's easier later on. You can, if you get it incorrectly, you can change it very easily later on. It's just even easier if you do it like that. Now, cam. Now also, if you don't have a pre-existing mark on your cam like this one, it's wise to mark it on which side. Draw a line straight through here to the cam. It should have one, but you should observe it in case it doesn't at the start before you pulled it apart. It helps line up all the, because there's two sides to the cam. If you put it on the wrong side, you'll wreck your valves. Once you're done putting it all together anyways, you can, before I tighten these bolts, I like to put the head on here, the rocker cover, and these things here stick out a little bit, so what you'll need to do is you slide it on. You need to get a little screwdriver, flat head. Lift the valves up, valve arms, so they won't fall in place. You need to lift it up. You'll see when you get to it, the lid won't be able to sit on properly. And if you insert a flathead screwdriver, you can lift them up, or you can take these off and just lift them up very easily. Oi. Next, you do the head studs. I'm going to tighten them up. You want to tighten these down, but do it at your own risk. It says in my not manual, but I've read up to tighten these down to about 40, 50 newtons of torque. I went down to about 40 before the head stud ripped out completely out of the casing, engine casing. One heck of a muck around once you've done that. That's why I've got a big ass bolt in this one here. So I've had to re-tap it. There wasn't enough room to tap it, and it's not that strong, so headache. So I would only talk them down to about 30 newtons 35, anywhere past that. If you got a cheap Chinese engine, the metal might be weaker like mine and it crack, and it's just headaches for a week just mucking around and a week without riding. Now you tighten these down in intervals all around, slowly getting tighter and tighter to let things compress. I don't use a torque tension, I just do it by hand, roughly where I feel. Where I think, oh yeah, that's just before it gives way. See, don't tighten one all at once because it's not the correct way of doing it. You go around bolt to bolt, even though you thought you've tightened up one, go back to it and give it a little extra, because the other bolts help compress the head gaskets and the gaskets under here, making them loose again. See, I tightened that one up pretty tight, but when I go back to that one, I reckon it'll be loose again. Yep. So you just go evenly around, just tighten them in intervals, even let it sit for line those bolts up and tighten the bolts in. Also, when you're connecting this here, use a bit of RTV grey, that'll help to seal in all the oil, preparing it from leaking oil, stopping it from leaking oil. Battery is flat. Now you can go ahead and tighten these. Now you can tighten it without it spinning around. There's 4 bolts in there that you have to undo. Here's one that's very important, you must do it. And for a 20-minute charge, it's lasted about 4 hours, so I'm really impressed with my $4 investment. I bought it, it was broken, I fixed it. That's nice and tight. That helps hold in the oil from here instead of the head studs that are here. So 4 bolts on the side, on top now. From here on in, you don't need to watch the end of the video. It's pretty self-explanatory. Better for people that just want to watch, continue watching. For the others, I've got other videos on YouTube how to do things, how to get more power out of these engines, like porting and things. You might want to have a look, you might not want to. Weirdos coming over. They're really tight. I must have some RTV stuck on them. Or it's making them hard for them to go in. It's important you do up all these bolts exactly how you want to. because when you lift the engine back up, it's a bit harder to get to. You gotta charge this. Put this on charge now. It's done its job. It's done well. That one's tight. That one's tight. These ones you don't need to do in intervals, you can just do up. Oh, adjusting your valve clearances, that's what I'm going to get into next. I've got videos on how to adjust your valve clearances, but I'm going to have to readjust mine because everything has changed. Actually, go through my videos and watch how to adjust valve clearances. I'm going to skip that stage for now. I do have a video on how to adjust them. Valve clearances, I'll explain a little bit about them. They're in here. It's good to adjust them every 1,000 or 2,000 k's on these cheap bikes. But it's a bit of a job, so you can extend it until you start hearing a tapping noise up here, and the tapping noise gets louder and louder. That's when you adjust it. Now you'll need a little gauge here, like so. Now, out of memory, you will need to look up your own stats for other bikes. Out of memory, the intake's a 0.3 or 0.003 and the exhaust is a 0.004. You'll need to double check that. You bend them like this, and these things here, these valves, they tap up and down. You need to put a socket in here, give it a little turn. It's up. It's also up. Anyways, my valve clearances are fine. What you want to do is put the case back on, slide it up, and then you're good to go. Turn it over by hand a few times, just to make sure the valves aren't hitting, just in case you did the timing belt wrong. Turn it on, don't actually give it power, have a good listen with the motor just kicking over, see if it sounds like anything's hitting or shouldn't be doing what it's doing, and then give it a crank over. Have your finger on the off button, just in case something goes wrong. And put RTV grey around all these seals to give it a nice good seal so no oil leaks out of it. Let it run, have a piece of cardboard underneath, make sure no oil's leaking from any places, and you're good to go.